Okay, good evening, everybody. And this time I hope I got my audio straightened out. I have had all kinds of difficulties with this medium, and it seems to be continuing just a little bit as I had wanted to import some media, and for some reason I'm not able to do so. So we're going to have to kind of limp along here with what I've got. And basically, what's going on is right now the Blanchard trial is set for April 15th, I think. And the reason I say I think is because the docket has been rather confusing as far as, excuse me here, I'm just getting a little set up, as far as whether it's going to be 8th of April or the 15th of April. And I got it directly from the state attorney's office that this thing is going to be on um, the 15th, but I've had other sources tell me that it's going to be on the 8th. Um, so I was going to call them, but unfortunately, today is Good Friday. And because of the fact that it's Good Friday, I am not able to call them. So I'm going to call again Monday and see if I can get it straightened out. Now, this has been an interesting week because what's been going on, as people may know, is there are some outsiders that have barged into the case, and also Millie Blanchard has decided that she wants to be her own attorney. She has fired Attorney Morrow, and she is now basically the attorney. And she has a Canadian woman that goes by I infiltrated by truth on the internet, and her name is Alexandra, and she's got a name I don't even want to begin to try and pronounce. It's a foreign name. This woman has absolutely no legal background at all. She's just a blogger that's decided to get on the internet and become famous by acting as a consultant to Neely Blanchard in the case. Um, Neely Blanchard has claimed all kinds of things, that she's being tortured in prison and all this other um, nonsense. And so, through the crazy and Canadian, she has fired her lawyer. They had hearings, and basically, the lawyer said, "Yeah, she can fire me all she wants. I quit. I'm out of here." Handed all his hard work and evidence to Neely Blanchard and walked away. Uh, and there was a hearing on Thursday where they got everything all figured out and decided that Neely Blanchard can go ahead and represent herself. She's not going to be granted any kind of continuances in the trial is going forward. Now, what I'm going to try and do is obtain an article I received and read that. The Ocala Star Banner has been um, doing a lot of reporting on this case, and they put on an article. Let's see, let me go here and see if it's in here because I get notifications from the. I get a notification from the newspaper when they come on, and so I want to go down and see if they're here. I've been getting a god awful. Here we go. And so, um, in their daily briefing, it goes something like this. Come on, come on, come on. Slow phone. Oh, come on. I'm already joined this thing. I figured I was going to run into something. I just. Hmm. Well, this is interesting. 'Cause I already subscribed to this. Oh, I see what I did wrong. Come on. And of course, it didn't save the password like I wanted it to. Yeah. Oh. Okay, now I gotta find the article again. Uh, okay, is this? Okay, last week, Neely, Ray, Berganaville, Petrie Blanchard fired and local defense lawyer Jack Morrow because she said he was working with the FBI and doesn't have her best interest in mind. The judge told Blanchard at a hearing March 27th that her trial is set for April 15th with jury selection. Now, Assistant State Attorney Toby Hunt told the court that it does not look like Neely Blanchard is actively seeking out an attorney and that she's going to represent herself. Uh, she has made 106 phone calls from the jail and still no lawyer has been hired. Um, Except in certain circumstances, inmates' phone calls are recorded and inmates are aware of the recording. By the way, I have talked to the county sheriff. I have a public records request in for those phone calls. And again, because of the holiday, it may take some time to get them. Uh, Blanchard has disputed the prosecutor naturally and said that she has tried to call and can't. And the prosecutor said, nope, there's plenty of ways that you can get in contact with anybody you damn well please, especially since you're acting as your own attorney. On April 20, on March 27th, she said she wants to represent herself. And again, Hunt told the court Blanchard has made it clear that she wants to represent herself. The case is set for trial. The state is ready to proceed. Based on the matters discussed during her phone calls, Hunt said Blanchard appears ready for trial. He said Blanchard has asked a woman from Canada to file motions for her, which she said is not allowed. It is believed the same person from Canada helped Blanchard filed the motion to dismiss Morrow. Now, what he is getting at here is that the state is contending that this Canadian woman is acting as an attorney. She can't do that. She's not an attorney. She's not even a United States citizen. So there may be legal charges against this Canadian woman because of her involvement in the case. And anyone else that decides that they want to represent Neely Blanchard in any way, shape, or form. So we're going to want to see how this is going to go forward. Uh, and Hunt has told Blanchard she can request whatever she needs in writing and send the letter without postage through the jail mail, and the state will receive her message. So right there and then, she doesn't need any outside help. She can just zip off a letter to the court through the jail, and they'll get it, and she doesn't even have to pay postage. So added beverage there. And Blanchard says she wants to be continued and explain that she needs more time to get a second or get a lawyer. Second, she is not prepared for the trial. And third, her rights are being violated. And fourth, evidence is being withheld from her. That's false. She got all the evidence. And this is an interesting part here that people need to pay attention to. Neely Blanchard has said that she is planning to mount an insanity defense. Barr was producing a similar strategy. Now, there have been articles on conspiracy theory blogs and social media streams that says that Neely Blanchard is claiming she is not insane. She was not temporary insane. None of that. As a matter of fact, according to these conspiracy theory threads, she didn't even commit the murder. I did. Yeah, me. This is according to these conspiracy theory wacko blogs. These conspiracy theory wacko blogs has me as Whitey Bulger, a now dead gangster from Boston who is in jail and somebody whacked him over the head with a padlock instead of a sock. So that, you know, but this is the kind of craziness that's going on around this case. We've got this woman claiming uh, through a third party that she is being raped and tortured in the Marion County Jail. There's all kinds of things going on with Donald Trump, where we're all out to get Donald Trump, according to this wacko blog. And somehow Neely Blanchard is in the middle of all this. And I'm trying to set something up here, so bear with me. This thing has been giving me all kinds of fits for the last month and a half. I don't know why this is acting this way. We're gonna. And of course, this is not going to cooperate because I don't. I like to have the material shown up here. I don't like going through a process of trying to find it. And I think maybe now we may be able to get what I need. Yeah, here we go. And we go down to. Okay, this is the warrant. I didn't need this right now. So let's see. Let me go down through again. Okay, now, kind of, in a way, it's good that I don't have a large stream set up because this would be embarrassing. And it also doesn't help the fact that I've been off. Let's see. All right, this is the petition that the attorney put in. And let me enlarge this a little bit. And basically, what we have here is the States notice of supplemental authority to and motion supplement into the record. And basically, it's stating here that Mr. Morrow is no longer on here. And what this is here, the state is citing a case that has to do with their argument about why Neely Blanchard should not be granted um, a continuance. And so, everybody's free to read this and they can decide for themselves. Um, and that's what I'm doing. I'm scrolling through here so that it is readable. And so here it says that the trial is set for the week of April 15th, 2024, which is 25 days from the time that this was filed. Um, a number of delays that is over 8 times longer than in McKay. Further, this honorable court found in which the state agrees defendant's role in shortening all preparation time is blatantly obvious. These specific factors weigh quite heavily against the defendant's request for more time to find an attorney, as the defendant has provided no time frame on how long she would need to continue the case. Excuse me. That is nearing its 4th year of pendency. It is impossible to determine precisely how long the defendant wants to continue this already old case. So the prejudice to the state and the administration of justice will only grow as such continuance is given. As to the complexity of the case from a purely proof standpoint, the case is no more complicated than an armed robbery of a bank by a masked man, as was in McKay. It remains unclear if this defendant will pursue a defense of temporary insanity. Remember, the paper reported this differently. Although the recorded phone calls the defendant made subsequent to the March 21st hearing indicate the defendant is planning a compulsion defense, not one of insanity. Now, the compulsion theory is something that I'm going to have to do a little research on. I have heard of this defense before. It's as tough to defend as would be um, temporary insanity. Morrow indicated in court that he provided the defendant with all the discovery, so the availability of discovery is clear. Further, the defendant has no new counsel. There is no new evidence of any skill or experience for the new counsel. To further argument this, the court's finding that defendant is strategically decided to fire prior counsel as a delay tactic in a series of calls immediately following the 21st hearing to a self-proclaimed independent researcher and apparent purveyor of sovereign citizen and QAnon conspiracies like the defendant, Canadian citizen Alexandra Koukanakis. The defendant tells Miss Cuckoo, who is not authorized to practice law in Florida, to file an appeal of this court's ruling in order to obtain a stay in the proceedings. In another call, the defendant asked her Canadian confidant to file a motion to continue. Also, clearly, the defendant intends to further delay the trial in this case. Wherefore, the state hereby respectfully requests the Honorable Court to accept the state's notice of supplemental authority and motion to supplement the record. And this was on 21st day of March 2024. Now, this was a message sent to Cuckoo to forward to Mr. Morrow stating that he was fired. And this has been widely reported on the local media. And so that is all the supplemental here. And it has been reported that there are sources that are complaining to the Florida State Bar Association about this woman practicing law in the state of Florida. I don't have any further details at this time as to who is filing these complaints. I understand it's multiple parties that are members of the legal community in one form or another. And there also may be at least one other individual that gets reported to the Florida court system and the bar for her um, interference in this case. And there's a footnote here, contrary to her claims in open court and her repeating the same in multiple jail calls, nothing in her filing indicates that her request to represent herself was only time to find another lawyer. Now, it has been reported that a number of attorneys in the state of Florida have been approached and they have all turned down her request. So basically, what we have here is um, she has decided that she wants to be her own attorney, and there is no effort of any kind to find another lawyer. And so we have, once again, um, what is going to be probably one of the craziest cases the state of Florida and the Marion County Court has seen as this woman has decided to get herself involved in this case. Um, Now, at this point, there isn't really much to say about this. There is, um, okay, so we have 9 people in tonight. Well, I appreciate you people tuning in. This was in kind of the short notice, and my uh, production quality hasn't been there because of this darn situation. But while we're at it, I want to look at something here that's rather interesting. Um, and let me. I thought. Now, this is what should say could be considered an obsession of sorts, as this individual seems to um, want to include me in things. I'm not sure what the situation is here. Uh, Falcon, if you're in here, I would like to know if I still got audio. I think I've got that part fixed. I just want to make sure that by putting the screenshot in here, I didn't mess up my audio again. But as we go forward here, um, once again, Mr. Holmseth is calling me Whitey Bulger and has got this bit of nonsense going on. Now, of course, he says the FBI is no longer releasing information on Mr. Bulger, which happens to be true, but this has nothing to do with me. Even though Mr. Holmseth, as you can see by this article, insists that I am not only Whitey Bulger, I am also working with the FBI, and I'm going through this procedure apparently of wanting to get something to get Trump in trouble. And they've been, over the past few days, putting up headline after headline after headline to this effect. Now, if we go back here, I thought this is a rather curious one. They have me trafficked under names. They got me stuck in here. So she's claiming that she's being human trafficked. Now, what um, has happened here is that they've come up with this weirdness, and it has been said that it is the Canadian person writing this stuff because it has been stated that Timothy Charles Holmesett doesn't even write on his own blog. The only place you can find anything out about Tim Holmesett is on Truth Social, and even that is in doubt. But at any rate, we have uh, they took the contents of the Ocala Star banner story and just basically put it in here entirely in this blog. Now, since they cited the Ocala Star banner, I guess you can't get them for um, plagiarism, although it's come about as close as you can get. Um, and for whatever reason, they have involved me in this foolishness. Um, and this has been going on for years. And, they've got this piece of work that they put out. Come on. And for some reason, the number 33 comes up here. These people are into numbers for some reason. And again, we've got Alexandra Kuckelberg being involved here. Now, all these writings, this is showing that someone clearly does not understand the American court system, and in some cases, not even Americans understand the court system. And this here is an article where um, Randy Lynn Erickson, who is a trustee or whatever you want to call it of the TimothyCharlesHomeseth.com blog, has written to the governor of the state of Florida. And I don't know what, she thinks he's going to accomplish by that. But, this got sent to DeSantis. And by Florida broker, she is a Florida real estate broker. Uh, and Minnesota abstractor and notary public. The abstractor, I think she no longer is involved in that, but that is irrelevant because this has nothing to do with a murder trial. And it's all this wild ass, this orchestrated indictment plot against Trump. And what is curious about this one is apparently these people don't know how to comprehend the English language because they have taken a quote that I made out of context. And the reason for my quote at the end of my live stream, which proves these people are enamored with it, is that if I am brought into court and put under oath, it is likely going to be by Neely Blanchard to accuse me of having something to do with the murder of Chris Hallett. And I will deny that, and I will tell the court just exactly what's going on, and that there is this insane nut going around saying that I am Whitey James Boulder, this mobster who was whacked over the head with a padlock on 2013, and that they have published at least a dozen whack-a-mole theories connecting me to at least 7 murders throughout the United States and making these outrageous uh, fairy tales for the sole purpose of making money off this case and or to present themselves as some kind of uh, authority. And for whatever reason, my camera decided not to work, so I am stuck with this thing. So I'm not sure what to do about that other than just you can sit there and watch this little circle. Um, so I don't know what to do about that because this is one of the things I've been saying about this. Uh, yeah, thank you, Jody. This thing's been it's been acting kind of weird. I'm not sure what the situation is here. And let's see if I. All right. Well, that's one way of doing it. Because what it is it added an extra module on here. So I'll just close this thing out and put it away until I can figure out how to get rid of it. But here I am back in my glory. But, you know, I really don't understand why the court is tolerating this. It just seems to me that at some point the rule of law has to come into play here, and people are going to have to say, look, you're not a lawyer, you're not authorized to practice law, and you're putting a lot of nonsense into the court records which you know are not true, and you're slandering and defaming uh, an American citizen who is guilty of nothing more than being retired and running a small social media presence. But, this is what we run into on the internet anymore are these people that um, have found this powerful medium and a voice that they otherwise wouldn't have. And instead of using it responsibly, they're making a joke out of it. But I'm going through some of the commentary that's been put out there about this situation on other social media. A lot of people are beginning to wake up to Mr. Holmseth and these people. And again, the only reason I am breaking my pledge not to discuss these people is number one, they keep bringing me into this, and number two, they are now part of a murder trial in the state of Florida and directly involved in it because um, Tim Holmes's leader, publisher, administrator, whatever the hell she um, is directly involved, filing all these motions and papers. The staff writer and so called research agent has filed all kinds of stuff in the court, so they are now directly involved in the case. And do remember that this Canadian cuckoo bird filed a nefarious operator's claim that put me in there, as well as other people, simply because she wanted to see people show up in court. Hello, Lori. Welcome. Haven't seen you in a while. I haven't been on the air in a while. Uh, Now that we have the trial coming up, I'm going to be on here more often, and I hope in the future to be more organized. I finally got, I think, most of the software figured out. What I got to figure out now is how to get certain things on the computer that used to be here that's not here, and start importing material that I'm going to be using when I do the live streams. Now I will be in the uh, Marion County area on the 15th of April. Now, jury selection is supposed to start with the latest information I have on the 15th of April. The trial will probably run through the week and it will probably be fairly brief because with Neely Blanchard representing herself, it's going to be a short trial because she doesn't know what the hell she's doing. There's a lot of things that I got to see how she's going to handle. She's got to handle jury selection. She's then got to figure out how she's going to do her opening argument if she is one. Now, an attorney or the defense does not have to give an opening argument if they don't want to, but she'll probably get into this by saying, "Okay, I want to do an open argument," and she's going to probably mess it up. And then we're going to get into the prosecution. The prosecution presents the case first, and all the evidence that's been put into court will come out. Some of the material that I put online will come out. Some material that I have not put online have come out. I have not put up the crime scene photos where the murder took place because it is rather gory. And that's number one. Number two, there's a login showing a corpse on social media and in the public domain, and also because YouTube frowns upon glorifying violence, as they call it. This is not glorifying anything. This is a murder trial. and CNN and Law and Crime and other um, true crime media put these kind of things on. I watch a lot of stuff right off uh, YouTube, and plus I also watch court TV. And so, this, you know, for whatever reason, YouTube has become paranoid and they just don't put a lot of stuff on social media that they used to. And so you get into all this stuff um, where it's not even worth streaming true crime media on YouTube. And it's one reason I'm thinking about changing where I do my live streams when it comes to the area of true crime, because it's putting up with the antics of YouTube is just not worth it. Let's see. Okay, he put the special report. They had me trafficked under names. They got me stuck in here thing that I just showed you. That's the only thing that's been showing up on Telegram. Um, and that's it. Now they've been going after this Diddy character, and um, I'm not sure what this clown did. Now, if this guy's into child trafficking, he deserves to go where the sun don't shine. And so, but they're chasing all over Diddy, so at least they're looking at something valid, although they've twisted that around. Yeah, the only reason I'd gone off the air mainly is because there was nothing going on in the trial, Lori. And now that um, things are back, back to um, the case going forward, you're going to see a lot more of me. And there's been a lot of motions and all kinds of craziness going on. And it's been mainly because of Mr. Morrow. They have basically, um, what I'm doing is I'm going into, well, this isn't going to work. Heck with it. Because I'll just do this again later. But what I've been doing is just following all the filings that have been going in case there is something that uh, Neely fired her attorney because she became convinced that the attorney was working against her. Now, this is familiar to the same argument that was made as to why she allegedly murdered Christopher Hallett, as Christopher Hallett was working against her. And so she fired him mafia style and shot him. And of course, everybody came along and said, "Wait, wait, 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 wait! Neely didn't do that. You know, Hallett was assassinated, and I got put on the suspect list along with other people, and Neely is innocent. Blah 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 blah." And even though Neely has confessed, um, and now she's going to go to trial, and she's going to come up with the compulsion defense. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find something here. So let's see what we have here. Okay, according to a law here, compulsion is a highly recognized defense in court. The person must be committing the acts that would otherwise be criminal under the threat of menace. All right, I'm going to need my glasses for this. Well, let me do it this way. They things in extraordinary. No, why are we not? Compulsion is a legally recognized offense. In Florida, a person is not guilty of a crime if he or she believes that the death or great bodily harm will be inflicted upon him or her or his spouse or her child if the person does not do the acts that would otherwise be criminal. The person must be committing the acts that would otherwise be criminal under threat of menace or imminent infliction of death or great bodily harm in order for this defense to apply. Historically, some courts have held that wives are entitled to be a presumption of compulsion if their husbands were present when they committed what seemed to be a criminal act, but that is no longer the law, at least in the state of Illinois, where I got this material from. Now, compulsion is almost the same as a crime of passion, but there is this defense that she wasn't in control of herself. Now, if she had maintained the not guilty by reason of temporary insanity, that would be closely defining what happened here. There, it was she got enraged and she temporarily went blank, out of her mind, whatever you want to call it, and shot him. But if she goes with a compulsion defense, she still has to admit that she shot Hallett. And this blows the argument of her supporters out of the water because everybody in that group is saying that Blanchard did not shoot Christopher Hallett. Yet, here we go, with even the Canadian consultant understanding that Neely Blanchard is pleading not guilty by reason of compulsion, that she had or found herself in a position where she felt it was necessary to kill, allegedly, Christopher Hallett. So I'm not sure how they're going to handle this in these various things that they put out on social media because Neely is saying one thing in court and they are saying something completely different. Now, you can't have it both ways. Um, that's exactly it. She is blaming Chris Hallett for her compulsion to kill him. That because Chris Hallett did not act on her behalf to get her children back, and also allegedly claimed that Chris Hallett was going around saying that she's an unfit mother and there's no way in hell that she should have custody of her children. Excuse me, folks. Um, and this is the reason for all this going on. So we have kind of, sort of, a change in the defense strategy against, um, and with whatever's coming up at the court. And now we have this defense that um, Chris Hallett somehow made it necessary for her to allegedly assassinate him. That it wasn't me, it wasn't some group out to get Trump or anyone else. The action happened solely by Neely Blanchard. So where do we go from here? Well, there's probably going to be more things coming out in the court docket over the next few weeks. I got some paperwork I'm waiting for from the court that I haven't got yet. Um, and it has to do with what happened over the past 2 days. Well, that's what everybody said. Uh, Morrow said it in his argument in court, and everybody said it. It's a good defense because she's saying, when you're innocent by reason of temporary insanity, that means that you were not sane at the time. It's a defense that is somewhat close to the compulsion defense. But in the compulsion defense, you are sane, but there are extenuating circumstances as to why you committed this particular crime. And temporary insanity means that you just lost it completely and there was no premeditation. You shot Christopher Hallett and um, it was a crime of passion, whatever you want to define it, however the experts want to define it. This is why this happened. Tennessee Lights, hello and welcome. I think I've got this thing somewhat better under control tonight. It's still some bumps I gotta go over to get this thing perfect, but we're getting in a better situation than last week and in the past. Yeah, it is premeditation. She obtained the gun, and the evidence, I believe, will state that she went to Pensacola from Kentucky, that took her husband's gun, and went to Georgia. Now, how the hell he got down to Georgia to be with her, I'm not clear on. Excuse me. But the state has identified the gun as his. It's registered to him. So she didn't go out and buy a gun. She borrowed it from her husband. And when she was arrested in Georgia and her son came out of the Kmart, or Circle K, excuse me, and was detained, he said that there is a gun in the car. It's my gun that connected her to the gun, to her husband, to the gun. So that, you know, she didn't go to a pawn shop, buy a gun, spend some time shooting the thing, and then went and killed Christopher Hallett. She already had the gun. She just went and got it from her husband. And, someone said in a comment on one of my older videos that she turned herself into the state of Georgia. She did no such thing. She went to a gas station to get gas. He went in and got cigarettes, and there was a bolo out on her, and the cop realized who it was, went and arrested her. And that's how she got arrested. Well, I don't know what Blanchard's going to do when it comes to how she got the information that um, Chris Hallett had made a decision not to help her and state that she was not a fit mother. Now, one thing that happens here, and I'm almost expecting her to do it, is if Neely Blanchard testifies in her own defense. And if she does that, she can be crossed. And what's going to be asked by the prosecution, what caused you to think that Chris Hallett turned against you? What caused you to think that Chris Hallett was going around saying that you were an unfit mother and so on and so forth? She would have to name who it is that gave her that idea. And the accusation we all know is who gave her that information. Someone within this circle of influence. And it would be really interesting to get her on the witness stand. And again, we're going to go back to why I made the statement I did at the end of my one video that they have taken out of context over there when I said, if I am brought into court and put under oath, there's going to be a lot of things that come out. And the one thing that is going to come out is how Nellie Blanchard got tied up with Tim Holmes, Seth, and all these people to begin with. And I'm going to show that the Canadian woman that is acting as consultant to Nellie Blanchard is the same woman that's running around telling people that I am Whitey Bulger. And it's this kind of crap that gets fed into Nellie Blanchard's mind that has caused her to do this compulsion to kill uh, Christopher Hallett. And I challenge the crazy Canadian, Tim Holmes said, Randy Erickson, and even uh, Nellie Blanchard. Put me on the witness stand. I dare you. I absolutely positively dare you. And I dare you to ask the question in open court if I am the one that killed Christopher Hallett. Because then things are going to hit the fan. And they're going to hit the fan because I am going to tell the court how all this came about. I'm going to tell the court that there is some Canadian woman out there who has told Nellie Blanchard that I killed Christopher Hallett, even though Nellie killed her. And that I am the one behind all this stuff that's going on, that I'm working with the FBI and blah-de, 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 blah-de. And it's going to create a bad situation for Nellie Blanchard, and it's going to create a bad situation for all these other people. So I will not, more than likely, be a witness in that case. Because they don't want to put me on the stand, because they know if I go on the stand and testify under oath, they're in serious trouble. And that's what I was talking about when all hell is going to break loose. Because when you go around accusing people of being a mobster and killing people in Florida, killing people in Indiana, and all this other nonsense that's been put out there by these people, there is an accountability here. That when someone goes under oath and says, hey, you people are full of crap, then, you're in the spotlight because someone under oath in a court of law is saying that you are a liar. And so now you are under obligation to come to court and prove otherwise. And I would like to see how the hell Tim Holmes Seth, Randy Lynn Erickson, and this Alexander Kugelberg is going to provide evidence to prove it. There is none. Whitey Bulger is Whitey Bulger. I am I. We are not connected. A simple DNA test would clear this up in a matter of seconds. you know, Whitey Bulger has DNA because he was in the federal prison system. I'd be more than willing to give a DNA. Take my DNA, run it through uh, the data bank, and you'll find them. I'm not Whitey Bulger, never was Whitey Bulger, never will be Whitey Bulger. I was born and raised in central New York. There's all kinds of history to prove that I am not Whitey Bulger. And, these people have put themselves in a bit of a rabbit hole and that they're not going to be able to get out of. And yeah, it's kind of curious about where Tim Holmesat DNA just might show up. There's, I put this out there, I don't know how many times, that Tim Holmesat is a convicted felon. He may not want to admit it or not, but it's out there. It's in the Minnesota records. He was convicted of felony grand theft. What did he steal? Maybe a car. And he's also guilty of felony trespass. Now, this isn't just, you wandered into somebody's backyard, they said, you don't belong here, don't come back, or else you get kicked out of a Walmart and go back to Walmart, and they say, okay, you had a trespass warrant, you violated it, you're guilty of a misdemeanor. No, this is a felony trespass warrant that he was convicted on. Back in way, 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 way back when he was in Minnesota, about the same time he was getting pulled over for uh, drunk driving and passing out on the floor of an insane asylum. He's had a pretty checkered past back in the day. And, it's all there for public record. People want to check it out. And they have a continued cone of silence about his criminal record. They don't want it out there. But this is one of the reasons I went to Minnesota. Yes, he does. The warrants are still valid. And a matter of fact, I verified this just recently that the Florida warrant for his arrest is outstanding. And it's a permanent warrant. He comes into the state of Florida, he's going to jail. It's that simple. So he would be advised not to show up in the state of Florida because he'll wind up in the Hooskow. And he's got warrants for his arrest in the state of Ohio. He's got warrants for his arrest in the state of Minnesota. And there may be a warrant in another state that I just became aware of, but I can't get my hands on the record, so I can't mention it. But that one's a really interesting one, so I'm waiting to get some information on that before I say anything about it. Um, but you know, the, the strange thing about all this is that if he had left me alone and not got me involved in this nonsense, I wouldn't be saying anything about him. I would be covering this case because it's a local case of interest and under unusual circumstances. So there might have been some things come out, but not to this extent. Well, we're getting into obstruction of justice here, and I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Right now, the state of Florida just wants to get this trial over with and get justice for Christopher Hallett and his son and mother and other members of the Hallett family. This is one thing that nobody thinks about when discussing this case is there is a son in Ohio that has lost his father under weird circumstances. There's a grandmother, or there's a mother who was living in the same building right across the patio from Chris Hallett that lost her son. And, I think there's grandchildren involved here. I don't know if there's any more offspring of Christopher Hallett. And there is a wife out there somewhere that even though they're divorced, she probably felt something for Chris Hallett. But all these people have been disrupted because this woman took it upon herself to allegedly murder this guy for whatever reason. And now we have this trial coming up having to do with the case. And you're quite right. Chris Haller's Chris Hallett's son has made it abundantly clear to people that he is not happy with this whole situation. He is quite angry um, because he found out that Tim Holmseth is stating that Neely Blanchard is innocent, that Neely Blanchard has nothing to do with the murder of his father. And he knows this to be false because he has seen evidence that normally is not given to the public. He even identified his father, which is something I can't imagine what it is like to go through. Um, and seeing his father all bloodied up and the crime scene photos of his father, you know, he's not happy. And he's also not happy with people like Kirk Pendergrass that tried to take over what Chris Hallett was doing. He personally fought against that. That I don't know. I mean, everybody knows his name. It's in the court record, so it's easy enough to find his name out. But and there was a change of address or address update filed with the course, by the court with his name, and I don't know if he's going to be at the trial or not. I would suspect that he might be, uh, but I don't know if he will be or not. I also don't know if his mother's going to be there or if she is even alive. His mother is quite elderly, and so I'm not sure if he's going to be there. I don't know if the ex-wife is going to be there. This is all completely unknown. Um, that's we'll find out April 15th. Um, but it does look like we're going to have local coverage with the Ocala Star banner there. As far as any other media, I don't know that for sure. That is probably what's going to happen. Uh, if everybody remembers, Kirk Pendergrass was interviewed by the state um, early on, and so they could either bring in his testimony um, through that recording, or they can haul him into court. Uh, that's kind of like uh, possible. I mean, there's all kinds of rumors floating around as to what was going on at the Hallett residence when Kirk Pendergrass went down there, and it's been reported that um, the witness in the case he had an intimate relationship with. Yeah, I tend to agree, Tennessee. I think he probably will be because he's a material witness, and so they will compel him to get his ass down to Florida. He'll get a free plane trip down here because when you bring a witness in from out of state, you have to cover their expenses. So he will be down here. Uh, Now, I don't know about compromising photos. Nothing's been brought into evidence yet as to that. That could always be brought in by somebody, I suppose. And I don't know anything about blackmail. Amber, behave. You be a good girl. Yeah, I wondered the same thing. Kirk Pendergrass just went off the radar here. He hasn't been operating his Kirk's Law form or whatever he wants to call it. And I really haven't been paying any attention to Kirk Pendergrass. I don't know what the hell this guy's up to. Um, so if he's there, he's there. If he's not, he's not. But it would think that I would think that he is going to wind up in some way, shape, or form in court, either through a remote deposition, use of the recording, or if he's brought in. We're gonna have we're gonna have the spy pen probably come in, which in itself is damning evidence against Neely Blanchard. Uh, See, this is the thing. Neely's gonna have to figure out how to get all this stuff in and she's gonna have to start asking for evidence and all the other things you do in a trial like this because she hasn't got much time. This is the end of the month, Easter Sunday or East Good Friday, um, and so April 15th is going to come real quick, and so she's going to have to get her ducks in a row. Um, yeah. Well, he did go to court, and I don't know what the resolution of that is. I suppose I could find out at some time. And so I don't know if he has made a deal with the court, took a plea, some reduced thing. Um, thank you. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there. He, it seems to be everybody surrounding this case has got legal issues of one sort or another, except me at the moment. Yeah, I'd be curious to know if anybody knows what happened to Kirk Pendergrass. Out of curiosity, I'd like to know. I like to be. I'm going to be curious if he shows up in court. So that's this trial is going to be interesting in more ways than the other trials. And it's if people want to know what it's like to defend yourself in court and be your own lawyer, you need to watch the Treehouse murder case that was resolved here. Um, Recently, a guy down in the state, down in Key West, decided he wanted to be his own Perry Mason, and went to court over the alleged murder of people in that called it in a place called the Treehouse, which is basically a night spot in Key West. And this is Florida versus Florida. Tucker Tyrone. And in that one, if I'm reading this correctly, which was in January of this year, is they declared a mistrial. So they're going to do this thing all over again. So this guy is the exception to the rule in that he represented himself in court, and even the people at court TV were impressed with his defense. And so that one will be tried again. So we've got that to look forward to. But you get. I don't think Neely Blanchard's going to be that smart. Yeah, she's just not going to be able to. Yeah, you got. I would be. I'd appreciate you doing that because I'd like to know what's going on with that, and if he got into his out of his situation up there and how he managed to do it. Um, and I'm going to pass along a bit of news. I don't know how many of you people remember Preacher Dan. I think most people in here do. But he got his ass literally kicked. He was got into a megaphone war with a student on a college campus out west, and the guy cold cocked him. And the video's out there somewhere. It's funny as hell. But uh, he is not a popular person, and why he keeps showing up on college campuses when he knows he's going to get the snot beat out of him is anyone's guess. But that's what happens. But Lori, I don't know where I saw that. Somebody sent me that video or put it up, where he had a big ass sign up in the air, and he was doing his usual thing, and a college student came up to him, and I think Dan reached for his megaphone or something, and the guy just went whap, and down on the ground he went. Oh, you had the clip from last year. Okay, I thought maybe this was recent. I wouldn't be surprised because he has that guy is another piece of work. But he paid the price of being loyal to Tim because he flew all the way from Alaska down to the trial in Minnesota, and Tim ran away. So everybody that showed up there was, did so for nothing. The guy, Tim wasn't even brave enough to show up in court. He ran away, and it's a misdemeanor. He could have used that a lot more effectively than now. And he ran away. He ran away from a golden opportunity. If but that shows you that he does not have good judgment. And unfortunately, neither does Neely Blanchard because she got herself involved with these people. You know, if she had not and got involved with these people, she may not have murdered somebody, and she would be up in Kentucky fighting for custody of her children right now, and be in a far better position to get them back. But getting involved with Chris Hallett and these group of idiots doomed her. They most certainly are, Tennessee. I'll tell you something interesting that happened on Thursday. I was talking to the representative from the state attorney that I work with, and she was looking through the document that I requested that's still locked. Um, and she was reading through it, and this is the thing that Alexander Kugelberg sent. And she went, "Oh my God," and started laughing her ass off. She said, "This is the funniest thing I have ever read." And, and we had kind of a jolly time for about 5 minutes with it because she thought this is unbelievable. And yeah, and from what I understand is it's the joke of the Marion County Court that this woman is passing this stuff around. That she's absolutely crazy. And she's making a mockery of the court and all the accusations that are out there that there may be some legal difficulty for these people at the appropriate time. And the more they keep getting involved with Nellie Blanchard and acting as her consultant, representative, whatever you want to call it, they're getting into legal hot water and they're felonies. The Florida Bar Association might get ticked off enough to file a complaint. And, all sorts of things that can happen from this uh, because of these people's involvement. So it's not really a smart thing that they're doing. But you can't argue with stupid. Anybody stupid enough to go around and spread these wild fish story and lizard story and Whitey Bulger story. Um, they're just weird. It's just hard to fathom what is going on here. I see somebody got the message. Our neighborhood troll isn't in here. I kind of figured when she started finding out what people are saying about her that she wouldn't show up anymore. Well, they already are, because it's my understanding that the state attorney is looking into Alexandra and the entire group. Because when the state prosecutor sees his name coming up out of nowhere, they want to know who the hell this person is and how they got involved in the case. So I imagine that they're on the phone with Canadian authorities about this woman, and um, you know, Cuckoo has a history with a RCMP, and not a good one. She's gone around creating all kinds of problems, making up all these wackadoodle things, and they kind of got on her case, and it looks like she's quit with that nonsense. I haven't heard anything out of Canada yet on that. Very close friend of mine lives up there, and he's keeping tabs for me. Saves me the cost of a passport. Um, and once they came out with a thing that said that she was, or it, I don't know who this person is, was actually a fake troll that I put up in order to have a conversation with, and all that. I think you might want to go farther east, um, but or farther west. I don't know because it's you go up to Michigan. Okay, yeah, he could be subject to appeal. Yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending me a hard copy of that, I'd like to go through it. Um, on these things, you have 30 days to appeal or something. Um, so, but the thing of it is, if he's in jail and did not post bond or get bond, then he's in jail during the appeal process, which could take up to 2 years. It depends on when the court wants to hear it. Yeah, going up to North Dakota. Oh, good. I could use a field reporter. Let me know when you get there. Still cold up there. I was up there a little while ago and it was cold as hell. I got all that snowy weather and everything going across the country right now. I'm not looking forward to going back up there again. Uh, yeah, an assignment's an assignment, so I may wind up there. Okay, that was quick. All right, let's see what we got here. Where'd it go? Michael Dean? Who the hell's Michael Dean? Oh, judicial officer. Oh, I see what this is. All right. For some reason, I'm not able to open the. All right, why am I not getting the. All right, this thing is not allowing me. I'm going to have to try and come in on the computer and see if I can do it on there. It's not working on the phone. Okay, if he only got 48 hours in jail, then. And if he was adjudicated guilty and he served time already, I don't see why he would appeal it. That's kind of dumb. Because if you appeal something like that, you can be in worse position than if he just took it and ran. What the hell is he convicted of anyway? I'm gonna try and open that up and see what. All right, let me see. I'm in here now. So said found guilty after trial. Okay, for whatever reason, the oh, I didn't see all this. Order releasing cash bail. Okay, this is on a. I have to register to get this information. You'd have to take a screenshot of criminal. Notice of estimate of transcript cost, preparation of transcript. Ooh, this is recent. So he is going to appeal. So, okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to go through the bureaucracy on that one. Yeah, apparently he was released. They gave him his bond back, and then he decided to appeal. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Yeah, did he cut a deal? Did he not cut a deal? We'll find out soon enough. Whew, hour and a half. I ran longer than I expected. I thought this was gonna be a short one. Oh, this is interesting information. Said if Mister Pendergrass is compelled to testify, he can be brought in as a hostile witness, and that means they can ask leading questions and all that. Um, that would be interesting if he was brought in as a hostile reference. Okay, I will go into that um, over the next couple of days or so and see what all that's about. I may do a separate thing on that, but I've got to start getting um, material gathered um, over the next few days. And I'm on a heavy schedule right now, so I don't have a lot of time between now and the 15th. Um, so we're gonna. One of the reasons this broadcast has been convoluted is because uh, there's things that I'm going to be doing different this time around that I have to get in place, and it's rather complicated. Yes, it was. I think it's just one of the many things that went on here, and if Kirk Pendergrass comes into court and testifies, you know, I'm going to be curious the questions that Neely would ask because the state's going to bring in witnesses, and then Neely has the right to redirect to um, question these witnesses on cross, and how is she going to handle it? See, this is the thing about this case when this rank amateur is representing herself. She has to handle jury selection. She has to handle opening arguments. Is she going to make an opening argument? And is she capable of making an opening argument where the prosecution doesn't object during her presentation because she violates the many complicated rules in court procedure? Is she going to object to anything the prosecution says where she has the right to do that in opening? And then we're going to get into all the evidence. The prosecution's going to present their case all the way through. Then we get to cross examination of the prosecution's presentation. Is she going to cross examine the witnesses? Is she going to say something about all this evidence? How is she going to handle that? You know, she's a defendant, yet she's also the defense. And she has a right under the law not to testify and incriminate herself. How is she going to handle all that? And then, after the prosecution's done, it's her turn. She's got to decide, is she going to call witnesses? Is she going to cross examine witnesses that have been called? Is she going to present her own evidence? And is it going to be stuff that pertains to the court and not all this hogwash that Hallett approved that they're going to throw out on objection? There's all kinds of stuff here. How is she going to introduce evidence, introduce discovery? Decide that she wants a witness. Say she wants me as a witness. How is she going to handle that? She has to subpoena me in court. She has to say to the state, I want William Kevin Murtaugh as a witness in this trial. So then the state has to find me, give me the paperwork. Then I have to come to Florida or come to Ocala, interrupt my live stream, and testify in court. And then, the state might want to ask me questions, and then she has the right of redirect. And then we come to closing arguments. How the state's going to say their piece. Neely Blanchard's going to say her piece, and depending on what Neely Blanchard says, the state can come in and have the last word on a redirect. So this is going to be a weird case. Well, that is an interesting question. Is the PTF an accessory to murder or not? There would have to be evidence of some kind of direct involvement, like saying that they manipulated and worked on Neely for experience an extended period of time to compel her. And this is where we get into this compulsion thing. She could use the PTTF as an excuse as to why she is not guilty with this compulsion defense, because she could say that she was under pressure and extensive influence by outside parties to assassinate Chris Hallett because he was not doing what he promised to do in getting back her children, and that he, in fact, was a child trafficker. Where did Neely Blanchard get the idea that Chris Hallett was a child trafficker? Because that's what came out. I would suggest everybody go back and listen to all the evidence that I put out there from the state, the telephone calls that she made with the spy pen lady, the FBI agent in Georgia, the sheriff's deputy when he interviewed. In all these came up this child trafficking thing. And she had indicated, by the way I look at it, that Chris Hallett was involved in child trafficking. Now, when we get Alexander Kugelberg involved, and she talked her out of all this. She's changed herself. But what Alexandra has managed to do is to show just how easily Neely is persuadable to do anything they want. 150 phone calls were made between those two. And this is after the lawyer was fired. How many phone calls were made before? I mean, we've heard the phone calls that Alexandra made when this first came about. She put them out there. And it's talking to Neely and persuading Neely into believing all the stuff was going on. That she said, you might as well, why don't you say that you were raped and tortured in court? Now, is Neely Blanchard going to get up on the stand and say that she was raped and tortured in the Marion County Jail? All the prosecution has to do is call in the investigators from the Marion County Jail. Yeah, it's, they're basically hanging Neely Blanchard out to dry. Yes, all these calls are recorded. I've got a standing request with the Marion County Sheriff's Department for those calls, and they're working on it. There's a lot they have to go through. There's legal things that they have to decide upon if they are going to be able to release any of these calls. Because the calls that I had requested prior to this were personal phone calls to her family, but the Alexandra has put herself in a situation of being a legal representative of Blanchard, but not a qualified attorney. So those calls are not subject to attorney-client privilege and are available to the general public. I believe the Ocala Star Banner is also requesting that material, so it's going to come out because, by all indications, the Ocala Star Banner is very interested in this case. Uh, She could be charged with obstruction of justice. This is the legal definition for interfering. Because if she is in any way trying to disrupt the court, um, this is where the obstruction comes in. So and just because she's a resident of Canada doesn't preclude her from being prosecuted. We have um, an agreement with Canada to extradite people from Canada to here and vice versa. So Cougar Bird is charged with a crime, she can be extradited back to the United States, and especially if it's in a felony. Yeah, I'm going to have to send Will Summer a note, let him know the latest on this. I'm pretty sure he's keeping up on it because he's been interested in this from the beginning. Um, I briefly had some talks with Summer about this, and now that this case has gotten so out of whack, he might be interested in covering it again. Because when he wrote his thing, this was going to be basically a routine murder case where there's a short trial, she's either found innocent or guilty, and that's the end of it. Now, all this wackadoodle stuff gets involved here. It's making for a far more interesting trial than otherwise would be the case. And so we're going to see what happens with um, the media on this. How much media gets involved? As someone as well known as Will Summer gets involved in this might attract court TV. Uh, and I'm rather curious. There's a guy down in Tampa for WFLA. I don't know if any of you heard of him, but he'll come in on these major stories. Like the last thing he did is he got involved with the boat when it hit the bridge, and talking about that. And he's got quite a big following, and so he might wind up getting interested in this case. And that covers the whole Tampa St. Petersburg, or yeah, Tampa St. Petersburg area. Well, they might pick it up because again, uh, be careful what you wish for. I mean, if she's out for fame and attention and credit, she's going to get it, but not in the way she thinks. I've had experience with negative press, and it's not pleasant. Um, you know, there's a cost for being in the public spotlight. And if she wants to be in the public spotlight, she's going to have to pay the price for it. And, when you get involved with these cockamamie groups and start spreading all this uh, nonsense, and it starts attracting a wider audience, especially in an election year, uh, they're gonna go after it, and they're gonna dig under every rock in the state in Canada and come up with every single solitary detail that this woman has ever had. If she's got dirty laundry. Uh, it's gonna come out. She's really taking a big chance. So so if the fame bubble gets bigger around these people, uh, they're gonna they're probably gonna wish at some point in time that they never brought this kind of attention upon themselves, because they're not going to be right now, as small as they are in their own little world over there, um, in the outer world. They're in a fine situation. They can run with this wild nonsense all they want, but when they start getting directly involved in a major case like this, they are taking a huge risk. And this would have been a death penalty case if it had not been for the work of Morrow. He talked the state out of the death penalty. But she's facing life without parole, um, and the more they barge into the case, the more likely it is she's going to be convicted. Now, she's innocent until proven guilty. That's the way our system works. No matter what we may blab about here on these various social media sites, she is innocent until proven guilty. That's just the way the system works. But when you look as a 13th juror, which everybody in the public is, at what is coming out, you got to kind of wonder, how does this woman think she's going to get out of this? And writing weird shit to the governor of the state of Florida ain't going to do it. Writing to Trump ain't going to do it. Going through all this nonsense um, with these filings that Randy's making is going to make matters worse for Neely, not better. When you go around saying that people are gangsters that have been killed and they've been resurrected, and especially that's the funny thing on Good Friday. Anybody in the religions that believe in Good Friday understand what today is, and they're saying that this dead mobster from New England is resurrected as me. In a kind of a convoluted way, that's putting me on the same plane as Jesus, because we were both resurrected, according to these idiots. I'm not putting myself there, they are. When you just go around saying people have been resurrected from the dead, that's making a powerful statement. And that's exactly what they're saying over there. That's correct. Not only is her signature on the form, she has published herself as the trustee and owner of TimothyCharlesHomeseth.com. She has a legal liability for everything that happens with that. She is also a key player in the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. That bears the responsibility here. Anyone connected with TimothyCharlesHomeseth.com or anywhere. Oh, here we go. Hey, Task Force, I'm surprised to hear you back. Now they're going to say that I brought you in as what is it? A way to make them look bad. You're a fraud. That Task Force, you are a fraud. You're a joke. It took you it took you almost 2 hours to come in here, but you're a joke. You're a fraud. You're fake. They disavowed you. Tim Homeseth, on his own blog, calls you a fake. There's no executive order. There's no immunity. There's nothing. And you're sitting here. This is what's funny, is you're sitting here defending Homeseth and this crowd, and they're calling you an idiot. You're a joke. Yeah, I can't believe you're that stupid. But you're desperate. You want the attention. You don't care that people are saying that you're me operating a fake username and creating this fake conversation for attention. Do you not read their blog? Do you not read True Social? Do you not read Telegram? Aren't you aware of this? Are you that stupid that you come in here in spite of the fact that the people you are defending are calling you out as a fraud? I think it's the funniest thing in the world because that's exactly what you're doing. You are screwing yourself. I'm sure that over on timothycharleshomeseth.com, sometime in the next day or two, they're going to write, Mert Witness 1 comes in as task force to create a fake conversation making Timmy look bad. I guarantee it. You know, and it's your own damn fault. I just did that. This has nothing to do with, task force. You need it. You're just making yourself look like an idiot. It's funny. Yeah. How long have we been at this task force? I mean, you come in here for I don't know how long with this same stuff. And the people you're defending don't even support you. Tim Homesat doesn't support you. Randy doesn't support you. IBT doesn't support you. Nobody. Yeah, it's just you don't learn. I think you just like seeing your name on the screen. That's all this is. This task force likes to see her name on the screen. Too bad. You know, but again, this is the kind of people that Tim Homeseth attracts. These Looney Tune weirdos that in normal life don't get the time of day. And they can come on the internet and pretend to be something. And you don't see Task Force over on BitChute. You don't see Task Force over on Telegram. This is the only place you see Task Force. No such thing. Laying down the law for the new republic. Nope, not happening. You know, I know you like Russians and I know you like the way the Russians do things, but we are a representative republic here. People have rights, and it's going to be that way. Now, if you wanna ruin that, um, you know, I'm 73 years old. I won't be around. So if this country goes into the toilet, I'll be long gone by the time that happens. No, you don't have to make people send this to you. You monitor all my social media stations, and you know where's your channel? Where's your supporters? All we see is you in here on this channel, uh, talking about Tim Holmeseth, and the thing of it is nobody likes you. Nobody. You're not even welcome here, and you show up anyway. But I don't care. If I got 4 followers. I don't care. They're 4 friends. They're not fake numbers that people buy on third party providers. Fine. You're great at being made a joke. You're great. You feel great knowing that people think you're a fraud. Go over to timothycharlesholmesmith.com and read what they say about you. I dare you. And bring it in here and show it to everybody so that everybody knows that in spite of what Tim Holmes says about you, that you still defend him. Yeah, go for it. Yeah, here's some chicken fool that won't even tell anybody who you are. At least I put my name on the line. You don't. What the hell? That's a nice thing about being small. I don't have to worry about anything. I get, 13 people. This is the most people I've had in here in ages. And you're one of them. But this is the channel that you go to. I do not see your name anywhere else. Why don't I see your name anywhere else? Not on Big Shoot, not on the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force, not over on Discord, nowhere. Just here. Why is that? Why don't you go to these other channels? You've been told time and time and time again, you're not welcome here, but you show up anyway. You get blocked. You work around the block. Violation of YouTube terms of service. What's made up? Okay, task force. Let's be specific here. What's made up? Oh, really? Let me take a look at this. It's going to happen again. I'm going to get the article written. Mert brings in fake task force. Bloody, bloody, bloody. Hmm. Okay. Over here. Jet set style, boy. Boy, oh boy, you're getting a lot of support over there. Love it. You're being betrayed as we speak. I love it. Oh, let's see. Maybe, just maybe, you should have not spent your check from your president, Biden, on coming from Minnesota to Florida. Oh, Biden's the one that sent me that check. Okay. It's kind of a neat trick. And living your jet set lifestyle chasing Timmy versus Kimmy around. Boy, that makes absolutely no sense. What happened to your fake FBI agent award? I didn't know I had a fake FBI agent award. Where was that? Timmy's the one that likes to call me the FBI and operative and all this other stuff, not me. Yeah, you're getting paid to do this. I don't know by whom, but the problem is, task force, is the very people you're trying to help are calling you out as a fraud. You still don't get it. And I don't care. Your little tirade when you come in here, you're doing nothing but providing entertainment for me. To know that all these weirdos um, are attracted to Tim and demonstrating to the world that all Timmy is out for is money. Gots to get paid. Got to get that $40,000 car. Got to get those free meals. Got to sit in that brown couch eating popcorn. Yeah. Money, 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 money. He ought to change his name to Joel Osteen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's all. Task Force is capable of. Nobody funds me. Are you kidding me? I'm a 73-year-old retired truck driver. There are more qualified people with better resources and better abilities and better talents to do all these cockamamie conspiracy things than me. Yeah. This is where your argument falls apart. You come up with all this crap, people look at who I am, and they know you're full of it because there's no way in hell I'm capable of doing any of this stuff. Yeah, that's exactly it. She's a paid troll running around doing all the fake stuff, and everybody laughs at her because it just falls apart. That's exactly it. Because Task Force is in the same mental plane as these other people that are screwing up Neely's case. And not only is Neely going to be in a Florida prison, she's going to be restricted on who can see her. So that means she's going to have a hard time seeing her children, who are going to be in there. You know, the only way that her children will be able to see her is in a visitation room in a state maximum security prison. That's her future. You know, Task Force and these other people are guaranteeing that. Oh, really? Well, let's see. How many threats like that have you made over the past 5 or 6 years? And I don't know where you think that Walmart's going to do me any good. Randy made sure I'll never get a job there. So, but people are going to look at it. What the hell is she talking about? That could be taken more than one way. No, he wasn't. Chris was not a contractor for Congress. Military has no jurisdiction. Well, if Chris Hallett did such a wonderful job on Nelly's case, why is he dead? And don't tell me somebody else did it. There's more than enough evidence, including Nelly's plea, that says she did. You don't make a compulsion defense if somebody else did the crime. That's where your argument falls apart, Task Force, is because spend a few dollars and go into the court and get the paperwork, and you will see that Neely Blanchard herself is arguing a compulsion defense. That means that she participated in the action. Who the hell is Doyle? What does that have to do with this game? And how do you know it's a false confession? She can argue that in court. I'd love to see that. She's a big know-it-all. She's going to be her own attorney, so it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. There's a lot of things going on that this task force person has no idea. And Neely's bringing it on herself. She made this big, bold move that she wants to be her own lawyer, and now she's going to find out what it's like you know, to get that involved. That doesn't explain who. You don't even know who Tennessee Lights is. Who the hell's Doyle? Would somebody mind telling me who the hell Doyle is? I don't get how this even came up. But that task force just makes this stuff up out of thin air. Um, kind of from the outer limits. Oh, let's see what they're saying. Telegram wishes that um, the people over in an IBP um, want her to shut up. Oh, yeah, you ought to read what they're saying about you over on Telegram and these other places. They want you to shut up because they know you're really they're really mad over there. It's a good thing they don't know who you are because they really want to put the screws to you. Everybody wants to know who is Task Force. Oh, now here we go. Here we go. I saw this coming. Actually, no, I haven't been up in Baltimore in quite a while, and no, I haven't been on any boats. So I knew that was coming. This is how stupid this woman is, or man, whatever it is. Just classic, classic troll. Oh, this is where it came from. The ghost of glow. Woo. This is a day for reincarnation. You never know. They reincarnated me as a monster, so what mobster. So you never know. You never know. You never know. You never know. God, I love it. I gotta find that. I just gotta find that. Yeah. Ugh. Okay. Do, 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 do. Hi, Paula. Glad you showed up. Our resident drunk is in here. Well, nobody has the right to commit murder either, and that's what this court case is about: is whether or not Neely Petrie Blanchard committed murder. Now, you're talking about the CPS here. The children were in the custody of her mother, the children's grandmother. They were within the family. Why on earth would anyone object to Neely's mother having custody of the children? That's better than putting them in um, the state's care and sending them off to foster, which is going to happen because as the children get older, the mother's not going to be able to take care of them, the grandmother, and they're going to wind up in foster care. There's a possibility. I don't know the family structure. But Timothy and you and the PPTF are denying this woman custody of her children by making things worse in court for her. So the fact that she cannot see her children falls on your shoulders. Now we're in the name calling. But yeah, that's the thing. We're getting. Uh, you get. I don't know why this isn't coming up. Site can't be reached. Why is that? Oh, here we are. Okay, let's see if we can figure out now. When was I on last? This is the 29th. Hmm. God, I gotta go through all these stupid. Let me go through these. You gotta. Okay, here we go. Let's circulate. Yeah, some people just gotta be. Yeah, some people just gotta, you gotta just lead them to the water trough and hope they. Dee, 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 dee. Okay, let me get this out of the way. Okay. Okay, now let's see if we can find this. Okay, I hope I still got audio. Dee, 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 dee. All right, there we go. During the airing of the video, Murda uploaded comments. As part of the regular strategy of the FBI, somebody created a YouTube account and logged into the chat using the name Task Force. This is an FBI tactic that has been used by Murtaugh for years, whereby he holds fake conversations with the Pentagon Pedophile Task Force. There you go, Task Force. Right there on your lover's site. That made no sense. But there you are. Ponder that. I gotta go take care of business. I'll be right back. All right. We're done here in a minute. Alrighty. Boy, that shut her up quick. But I think, from now on, if Task Force comes into a chat, I'm just going to put this up every time. Because she needs to be reminded, or he needs to be reminded, that she's being made a fool of, and she doesn't seem to care. Yeah. So, what are you going to do? But, it's time for me to. Still at it. I love it. I really love it. She doesn't get it. Yeah, this kind of reminds me of a woman that gets beat up and all that and will not leave the marriage. She just hangs around and keeps getting beat up. I guess Task Force likes getting beat up because Task Force is doing nothing but damaging Tim Holmseth, which I am totally for. Um, so as long as Task Force keeps doing this stuff, it's going to make Timmy look even worse. Yeah, Timmy is not an investigative journalist. He is doing nothing to stop child trafficking. Going around accusing people of murder that don't commit murders, going around interfering. Oh, that reminds me. Timothy is in, you know, Timothy is defending a pedophile, an alleged pedophile. There's a guy out in Indiana, in Delphi, Indiana, that is facing multiple counts having to do with the death of two teenage girls who lived less than a mile from where this guy worked. And yet, Timothy Holmseth and again, this Canadian cuckoo bird have come in to defend a pedophile, an alleged pedophile, saying the guy's innocent, he's railroaded. What in God's name is with these people? There is a danger here that these two girls may not get the justice they deserve because of people like Holmseth who come in and screw the case up. And Timothy Charles Holmseth is not and never will be an investigative journalist. And investigative journalists, competent ones, deal in the truth, not in fabricated conspiracy theories and making false statements about people. That is flat out nonsense. And here is Task Force supporting an alleged pedophile. A man that it's been proven he was there the day these women were, or the teenagers were killed. A child. These are children. And Task Force is defending the alleged murderer of children. I don't get it. I really do not get it. Oh, really? Timmy doesn't care about money. Why is Timmy begging for a $40,000 car? Why is Timmy begging for expense money so that he can sit around in somebody's living room and eat popcorn? You realize that there are at least 8 charities set up with Holmseth's name on it. Timothy Holmseth wants to be the next Joel Osteen. Beg, 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 beg. That's all that guy does. And, He's even turned against Phil McConnell, which I think is. Timothy Charles Holmseth is not an investigative journalist, and his work on the blog shows it. Accusing people of murder and defending pedophiles is not investigative journalism. It's yellow journalism. It's false information, fake news. That's what Tim Holmseth is. Tim Holmseth is fake news. And even with Tim Holmseth telling you that you're a fraud, you still don't believe it. All that's going to happen, Task Force, is Tim Holmseth's going to say, "Oh, there goes Mert again, making the fake chat using Task Force as a fake chat." You're doing all this, and it's not doing any good. The very person that you worship and call an investigative journalist is calling you out as a fraud. You know, that Brummel's efforts when it came to brokering a deal for Phil McConnell didn't do a bit of good. You know, he's in the same boat you are on that one. But yeah, that's true. Brummel is just as nutty as Cougar and you know there must be some kind. These people must have gotten frostbitten up there or something with some of the nonsense they come up with. Bramble is another nutcase that got involved with Canada. Well, I'll tell you what, Task Force, I'm not going to put those two posts up. You provide the proof that'll stand up in even the Canadian court. It's this you got this anonymous nutcase that even Tim Holmseth doesn't support. This is the funny thing. Tim Holmseth does not support Task Force. You know, this is a Task Force, an example of somebody who is completely brainwashed. If someone said that about me, what they're saying about Task Force, I would totally disavow them because it would have been a lie. Now, Task Force knows it's a lie, and yet here she is, defending him still. What is in the mind of someone that would have something like this posted about them on a blog that is made by a person that she worships, defends to the death, and she winds up getting slapped and told that she's a fraud, that I'm using her name to make all these fake conversations. That's got to be a special kind of stupid. You know, and, in a way, it's kind of funny because the FAFO project is actually working and I'm not having to do anything. Task Force is doing my work for me and people like her. It's just, it's the people that follow the PPTF cult around are some of the most amazingly stupid people I have ever encountered on the internet. And I've been on the internet since the days of a CompuServe and even ARPANET. It's just sheer, absolute stupidity what these people believe. I wonder if task force is giving money to the fundraiser set up in support of Richard Allen. It's being reported that um, Attorney David Hennessy, who represents Allen's attorneys, created the fundraiser as a way to build up enough money to pay for expert witnesses. The goal of the fundraiser was $25,000, and that goal was reached uh, Friday. Well, 500 people have donated to the funds, which has a deadline of May 10th. The trial is set for May 13th. So definitely going to be following that one. So this is another this is another case where Timmy's hands are all over this stupid thing. I just, you know, it'll be funny because if Allen is acquitted, these girls will never know who murdered these two teenagers. Never. So, but they don't care. There's two teenage girls that are gone. Parents miss them, and task force thinks it's a joke. It's really sad, but that's what the world's come to. We got people like Timmy running around making a fortune off the murder of someone that was supposed to have been a friend of his, someone that he supported. But he said, "Oh boy, look at this! I can make money off of this. We'll say he was this, that, and the other thing, and set up charities and get money for cars and sightseeing trips, maybe go out on the beach and get a tan. Got to get paid. Got to make that money. Money, 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 money. Gotta love it. He's too lazy to even go to work for Walmart. He's got his skirts to live off of. He's got women committing adultery. So he's having a gay old time out there. No morals at all. And April 15th, we're going to find out if there's more damage being caused. Yep, she confessed. Gotta get paid. Gotta get paid. Money, 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 money. Yeah, go give that money to Timmy now. Make sure he gets his allowance. Got to get that popcorn. Got to get that big TV. Get that $40,000 car that everybody's afraid to look at. But come April 15th, I would love to know what the reaction's going to be when the jury gets up, says, "We have a verdict. Guilty, guilty, guilty. Life in prison with no possibilities of parole." Loses the only time she sees her children, if at all, will be in a visitation room at a state prison. Hundreds of miles away from her family, hundreds of miles away from her children. Won't get to see her children grow up, won't get to see if they get married, won't get to see if they have children unless they bring them to the jail. Her children are going to have to grow up with the fact that their mother is in prison for murder, that she shot a guy to death because she got pissed off at him based on information she was being fed from outsiders. Right now, whoever gave Neely Blanchard the impression that that Chris Hallett was so against her that she got angry and was compulsed to murder her, have got blood on her hands. And if Neely Blanchard goes away for the rest of her life, they're responsible for that. Because Neely Blanchard had one of the best attorneys in the state of Florida representing her. Guy could have worked miracles for Neely. Can't now. I guarantee you there's nobody in Marion County that wants to have anything to do with her. It's in the newspaper article in the Star Banner. They've been calling lawyers in Ocala, and none of them will touch the case because Nellie Blanchard is a client from hell. They want nothing to do with her. So Nellie's screwed. Now, their jury may find something there to create reasonable doubt. It happened before. Look at Casey Anthony. That was a miracle. Might happen with this Richard Allen. We're living in strange times. It may happen to Nellie Blanchard, but I doubt it. I really do. I thought you were leaving. So what? Yeah, here we are talking about. I don't care what Randy makes. There's 250 million people in this country that make more money than I do. I'm on Social Security for Christ's sake. I don't care how much money people make. I care about the truth. That's something you don't care for, Task Force. You don't care that two teenage girls are never going to see their parents again. Two teenage girls aren't going to get married and have children, go to prom, stuff like that. Never going to happen. They're sitting in a box somewhere under the ground. Their family visits them every once in a while, maybe leave them flowers. Parents, friends, and family that'll never see these two girls again. And you make a joke out of it. You got to get paid. Just, it's thoroughly disgusting who you are. I bet you do, She's down in Fort Lauderdale somewhere in South Florida. I'm pretty sure, you're supposed to have this task force. Why don't you go find it? Why do you got to ask someone for the information? Can't you get it on your own? You used to you used to brag about your sleuthing capabilities. So go find it on your own. I'm sure Casey would like to read a book. I don't know what good it's going to do. She's too busy living the high life down in South Florida. Yeah, she got lucky. Yeah, and she didn't get lucky by defending herself in court. She got lucky because she went out and she got a barfly to protect her. You rail against the barflies, but look at Casey Anthony. You know, you rail against our court system. You rail against the attorneys, and look what happened. Casey Anthony got acquitted of first-degree murder. Acquitted of something that could have gotten her the death penalty. That's not going to happen with Neely. The only thing that Neely can come up with is hopefully life in prison without parole. The state took the death penalty off the books because they were persuaded to do so by her former attorney. Not her former attorney. Well, then, if Astro's in charge, Astra's going to be love to be drawn into this. There you go, Astro. I left you alone, but your friend here, Task Force, got you into this drama. Yeah, it doesn't matter who Casey hates. Casey is one of the most hated women in the United States. Lots of people hate Casey Anthony, in spite of the fact she got acquitted. There's a lot of people that believe that she got away with murder. A lot of people hate the jury. I don't. It's the jury did the jury. Esther was no friend of mine. She hates me just as much as she hates Levi. She hates me because I'm friends with Levi, friends with Alex, friends with Kim. She's made, she don't. She hates me, so she's no friend of mine. She's made that clear. You need to learn grammar. That makes no sense. But you believe what you want to believe, Task Force, but people do not like Casey Anthony. So if you want to believe that Casey's, popular and well liked, that's, who am I to argue? I just know what I know. As for Nancy Grace, she makes a hell of a lot more money than I do. She makes more money than Randy does by a long shot. Now, you talk about somebody that makes more money than me. There's a woman out there that makes more money than Randy does. Yeah, that's in the deposition. That when this first came down, the state said, "Fine, we won't do the death penalty." They missed their deadline, and that was all due to her attorney. Naylor wouldn't have been able to do that. So Naylor can thank her lucky stars, but she's blown the rest of it. She's guaranteed herself that she's more likely than not, unless some rabbit is pulled out of the hat and she manages to get a competent attorney, one of those bar flies that everybody talks about, she's going to the Hooskow. And she's going to stay at the Hooskow. Maybe she can get a job in the laundry room. I don't think the prison she's going to be sent to does license plates, so she won't be able to do that. Nancy does. Nancy makes a lot more than Timothy, and Timothy may not be seeing much of the money that's being raised in his name. There's talk that the people that are making money off of Timmy don't send Timmy that much money. They've got him under such tight control that he doesn't know half of what's going on. It's been declared that people are writing things in his name even. Can't be proven. No matter. Whoever Roy Potters is, I'd be surprised if Timmy wasn't mad at me. If Timmy's even aware. Because Timmy's, in a box somewhere, under control. by the puppet masters, by the skirts. That's why the only time you see Timmy is when he's taking photo shoots in front of signs and buildings. That's about it. IBT even admitted that one. She admitted that 90% of the stuff you see on the internet is not by Homestead. It's written in his behalf. And that he, but yeah, this is the amazing part. Right there on the screen, next to this chat, is what Timmy thinks of you, what Alexandra thinks of you, what Randy thinks of you. All these people, there you are. It doesn't matter. You can put up stuff like this all night. Why are you scared? Yeah, that's an interesting excuse. I can't put it up because you would call. Why hide the truth? If you're saying it's the truth, why hide it? Because it's not the truth. Because if you're afraid to have us call out the military and ask for proof of what you say, then it's a lie. You're admitting to lying. No, she's not. Because she knows. You know, it's a fact. People know what Nancy Grace makes. She's a multi-millionaire. Somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million. Now Kim's not poor. She makes damn good money. But there's a lot of people that don't make the kind of money that Nancy Grace makes. All right, did I lose audio again? Huh. Yeah. Yeah, I think. Yeah, task force must be drunk again. Well, welcome, Levi. Uh, I don't know how long you've been here, um, but the thing of this task force is just like everybody else over there. All they think about is money, money, money. They don't give a damn about the children that have been murdered. They don't give a damn that Chris Hallett was murdered. They don't give a damn that Kaylee Anthony was murdered. They just care about money. That's all they care about. All these charities set up, all this guts to get paid. And they find something with this tiny channel with my 4 followers and 14 listeners to complain. But in the end, none of this makes any difference because April 15th, there's going to be a trial. And in this trial, we're going to find out what happens to someone that's accused of murder, of shooting a man in cold blood in front of witnesses, in front of a child, no less. A child got to see a murder. How sad is that? And you've got children, 2 children that were murdered in Delphi. 2 children who will never graduate high school, never go to prom, never fall in love, never have children, never have a career, all because someone, for some reason, murdered them. And people like Tim Holmseth are coming to the defense of that alleged murderer. It would have been better if they just stood by and let the legal system do the job of determining whether or not this person was guilty or innocent. That's what a jury is for. Not for strangers that have never even lived in the town to come and interfere with the parents' desire for justice, to see a closure come about, to explain the truth of why their two children are not with them to this day. And the same holds true of Chris Hallett. Chris Hallett did not deserve to be gunned down. At best, Chris Hallett should have gone to jail for fraud, um, for theft by deception, but not murder. There's no justification for someone coming into that house and executing that man. It's not some massive government plot. It's not a conspiracy theory. Someone, for whatever reason, that he knew came into the house, no forced entry, and shot him. And now it'll go to court on April 15th, and we will find out what happened. Neely will have her say, the prosecution will have their say, and in the end, the jury will have their say. So, but I close with this. Watch the actions of the Neely defenders over the next few weeks. Watch what they do on their blog. Watch what they do on their social media. Watch and see what they produce in court, and watch the direction that Neely Blanchard gets steered in. And then let's see just what the jury comes up with. What kind of verdict the jury comes up with. What will be the penalty that the jury hands down? And the alternative question is, will Neely be acquitted? It's hard to say. That's one of these things we're going to have to wait and see. We're going to have to see how all this plays out. I will be in Ocala, Florida for the jury selection and for the trial and for the verdict if it comes soon enough. And we will know who was right, who was wrong, and if the family of Christopher Hallett will have closure. We'll finally know exactly what happened in that house. I will be coming back from time to time, mostly on Fridays, maybe in a few videos, to keep everybody updated on exactly what's going on, anything that comes out regarding anything on this case. And so stay tuned for that. My live coverage begins April 15th. I will be on location in Ocala, Florida for the E-Clause murder trial. Please like, subscribe, share, and hit the notification. And stay tuned, because the E-Clause trial is not the only thing that's going on. So, until then, have a good one. This is William K. Murtaugh, Witness 1, signing off.